Let's get ready to do the review sheet for Chapter 5. Which pairs of segments will be parallel? Just jump right into it. Number 1. So what do we notice? We notice that this angle is 49. This angle is 49. They're alternating interior. This side makes 49 here. This side makes 49 here. So NY is parallel to PQ. The other two are not parallel because you can tell that they're not alternating, being congruent. Number 2, which lines are parallel? Well, this is the transversal. AC, this angle right here is 80. These two add up, they're 80 also. What kind of angles are these? Corresponding. So we know that AC is parallel to EF. Hopefully you're off to a good start. Question 3 through 9. Here's the picture. Which pair of lines must be parallel, if any? 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1 is here. 2 is here. They are alternating exterior from each other. So if this is here and here, alternating exterior angles are congruent, like they say. We know we have parallel lines. Q is parallel to W. 7 and 6. 7 and 6 are vertical angles, so there is no lines parallel because of vertical. 5, 4 and 7 supplementary. 4 and 7. 4 and 7 are supplementary. Well, if we get rid of this line and act like this line doesn't exist here, 4 and 7 are both on the same side and they're interior, so they're supplementary. So we are looking at lines L parallel to line P because of same side interior. Number 6, 4 and 5. 4 and 5 are alternating in their interior, so they are congruent. So lines L is parallel to M. Alt interior angles congruent. 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are same side exterior. Same side exterior need to be supplementary. But wait, they say they're congruent. So once again, there is none here. 5 and 6 are same side exterior. So we have lines M and P. Two and four, 2 and 4, 2 and 4 don't even have a line being a transversal, so once again, that's none. If you're struggling with this, you need to go back into your note sheets and start learning the vocabulary words for those 5. Number 10, find x and y and the measure of angle 3. Well, here's angle 3. What do we notice? I notice these two make a straight line, so they are equaling 180. I know these are same side interior, so they equal 180. So we can set 2x plus 2y plus 6y equal to 180. And the second one we could do is 4y minus 2x plus 6y equaling 180. So up here, we get 2x plus 8y equaling 180. And down here, we get negative 2x plus 10y equaling 180. We don't have to multiply by anything because they are opposites of each other already. So we get 18y is equal to 360. So y ends up equaling 20. We need x. So if I plug it back into, let's say, this one here, I'm going to plug it back into this one. So I get 2x plus 160 equals 180. So 2x is 20. X equals 10. There's x. There's y. And we need angle 3. Well, angle 3 and this angle are alternating interior. So 6 times 20, measure of angle 3 is equal to 120. All right. Number 11, excluding angle 1 itself, how many angles in the diagram are congruent to angle 1? Angle 1 is 71. Well, there's 71. corresponding to here, that's 71, which corresponds to here, 71. If we look down this way, alternating interior, alternating exterior, meaning 71, 71, 71, 71. So not including this angle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got 11 angles. And the measure of angle 2, right next to the 71, 180 minus 71, giving me 109 for the measure of angle 2. Number 12, the transversal cuts each of the two parallel lines such that the alternating exterior angles are complementary. So we got parallel lines, alternating exterior right here and here. You know they're congruent. They also have to be complementary. So complementary means add to 90. So that means each one is 45 and 45 when I divide by 2. And they ask you to find the measure of the larger non-straight angle. Well, 180 minus 45, we're ending with 135, and 135 is a lot bigger than 45. 13, find the measure of angle 1 and 2. These two angles are congruent. If this line is the transversal, parallel line, 116, this angle's here, so we get 180 minus 116, giving me an answer of 64. So this big angle here is 64. They're small, two bisected because the two smaller ones are congruent. So 32 and 32. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 32. We need that measure of angle 2. Well, how many degrees are in a triangle? Triangles equal 180 degrees. So if we have 90 plus 32, we get 122. 180 minus 122. We are left with 58 for the measure of angle 2. Because if this is 58, this is also 58 because these are alternating interior angles. How are we doing so far? Good. Hopefully you're doing what you need to be doing. BE bisects angle ABC. So what does that mean? This angle is congruent here. That's correct. Giving you 180 between these. So 180 minus 34, leaving you with 146. If that's 146, each one itself ends up equaling half of that. So divide by 2, giving you 73. So 73 is here and here. They ask you to find the measure of angle C and D. Well, if this line is parallel to this line, here's the transversal. This one is congruent here. So the measure of angle C is equal to 73. And then if we know that, we can look at this being the transversal instead of this line. Or we can say that, hey, angle C plus 34 plus angle D has to equal 180. So the measure of angle D is also equal to 73 when you do the math there. 180 minus the 73 minus the 34. Okay. 15. We want to find the measure of angle 5. These two angles, one's inside, one's outside, they're alternating, so there's no name for them. But what you can do is you can move this angle wherever you want. Let's move it here. So that means this is 4x minus 2, giving me x squared plus 42 plus 4x minus 2 equaling 180. X squared plus 4x plus 40 equals 180. Subtract the 180 over. X squared plus 4x minus 140 is equal to 0. We need two numbers that multiply to negative 140, but add to 4. Let's go to our bank of multiplication numbers. First thing you should think of is 10 and 14 because it's a multiple of 10. There we go. Which one to make a positive 4? There's a positive 14. So this answer is 10. This answer is negative 14. Plug them back in. 4 times negative 14 minus another 2 doesn't work. 10 is the only x that works. We want the measure of angle 2. Well, we know that this angle and this angle here are alternating exterior. They're the same. So 4 times 10 minus 2, 40 minus 2 is 38. So the measure of angle 5 is equal to 38. Last but not least, on the first page, you see the number of crooks, 1, 2, 3. This is a 90-degree angle, by the way, whereas x located on top, so we have to work our way up. We start at 153. 153, how much is left over for here? This is 27. If that's 27, you do 90. This angle would be 90 minus 27, giving you 63. 63 is over here, which means this is 7, because 70 minus 63 means 7 is over here. And then this angle is 56 minus 7, so it's 49, which means the measure of angle A is equal to 49. Raise your hand if you got all 16 correct so far. Okay. 17, still a crook problem. Draw a line through your crook. What do we know? This angle is congruent here, so this top part is 7x minus 9. Working our way up, this is 3x minus 4, so this one's congruent here, so this is 3x plus 4. So we know 7x minus 9 plus 3x plus 4. We can set it equal to the middle term right here, which is 9x minus 7. I see a 10x minus 5 equals to 9x minus 7. Minus this way, add this way. So what do we get? We get x over here, adding 5. X is equal to negative 2. Apologize, this is a plus 7. So adding 5 here, x is equal to 12. And we want the measure of angle ABC. That's 9x plus 7. So we do 9 times 12, add 7 more, equaling 115 for our answer. Find the ratio of x to y. These two angles right here, it's got to be in a ratio of x to y. We can't find x, we can't find y, but we can find the ratio. These two angles are same side interior, so you can set 7y plus 100 plus 3x plus 80 equal to 180. Simplify. 7y plus 3x plus 180 equals 180. Let's get the numbers together. Whoop, they cancel out when you bring it over. 7y plus 3x equals 0. Can't do a ratio until they're on different sides. Minus it over. You want the ratio of x to y. Back cross multiply. The 3 needs to be in the x. So what does that mean? That means to be down here because it needs to be its cross. 7 has to be on top. So what do we got? We got a negative 7/3 for the answer. 19 is also a crook problem. Draw the line through the page. 136 is here. We need the supplement to 136 if that's here to here. So we do 180 minus 136, giving me an answer of minus these two. We end up with equaling 44. So this angle is 44. Then we'll do 57 minus 44, giving me the answer of 13. So this angle is 13. And then we do 180, because these are same side interior, minus 13, giving me an answer of 167. Number 20 is a lot more challenging. I'm going to help you out here. You see x, you see y, x, y, so you know it's a system, but then we got an x squared and a y. So it is a system, but it's a challenging system. Because of this. So the only way we can do this is set these two equal because they're alternating exterior. If I set 2x plus y equal to x squared plus y, if I minus the y over, they cancel out. So we get 2x is equal to x squared. We know we have to factor this. So we'll minus the 2x over. How do you factor this? X is pulled out. X minus 2. So the two x answers are 0 and 2. We need the y answer. So what do we know? We know these two end up being supplementary. So we know that we can add this. So that's 15 x plus 3y equals 180. When I plug in 0, this cancels out. 3y equals 180. So when x is 0, y ends up equaling 60. When x equals 2, we get 30 here. Minus it over. 3y equals 150. Divide that by 3. Y ends up equaling 50. We want to find this angle here. It's the same as this angle here. So when x is 0, y is 60. And when x is 2, y is 50. So when we do 2 times 0 plus 60, this angle is 60. And when we do 2 times 2, because that's the x, plus 50, we get 54. There's our two answers. That is a really challenging question. I will not give you one that in depth with 3 different variables, but I wanted to see if I can challenge you or not. 21. Draw yourself the parallelogram. We got A, B, C, D. Make sure you go clockwise and you don't skip anything. The measure of angle D is 4x. The measure of angle A is x squared minus 41. You know that these two right here are same side interior, so they're supplementary. So we got x squared minus 41 plus 4x equals 180. We are needing to factor this. So we have negative 41, and we're minusing 180 from that. So we're at negative 221. We need to factor. It's got a leading coefficient of 1, so those will go here. We need two numbers that are going to multiply to negative 221, but add to 4. First thing that jumped in my head was 17, so I tried it in my calculator, and I got positive 17 and negative 13. So x is equal to negative 17 and positive 13. Well, negative 17 is not going to work in 4x, so 13 is the only x that works. We want the measure of angle B. Well, the measure of angle B is the same as the angle D because opposite angles in there are congruent. So we do 4 times the 13, and we end with 52. I will star that one because I know that is one of the ones that have missed a lot on the test. Same thing for 22. Parallelogram A, B, C, D. We got x squared here. AB is 2x squared minus 22. CD is 3x minus 2. We want to find AD here, which is the same as BC. But we know opposite sides in a parallelogram are congruent. So we can set 2x squared minus 22 equal to 3x minus 2. Simplify it over. So we're factoring 2x squared minus 3x minus, so we're adding 2 over minus 20 equaling 0. Leading coefficient greater than 1, so you got to multiply across. So we need two numbers that are going to multiply to negative 40, but add to negative 3. Numbers that come to mind for 40 are 8 and 5. We need negative 3, so it's negative 8 and positive 5. So we get 2x squared minus 8x plus 5x minus 20 equaling 0. So this first group, the second group, pull out a 2x from the first group, leaving you with x minus 4. Pull out a 5, leaving you with x minus 4. So it's x minus 4 and 2x plus 5. For your two answers, this answer is 4. This answer is negative 5 halves. Which one doesn't work? Right here, CD can't give you a negative 5 halves, so 4 is the only one that works. You want AD, so x squared is equal to 16, so AD equals 16 for our answer. 23. We notice this is a parallelogram. Angle 1 is 6x minus 2. We know angle 2 is 4x plus 7. And angle 3 is 2x plus 21. Since this is a parallelogram, these are parallel. That means these angles right here are alternating interior, meaning that the 2x plus 21 is equal to 4x plus 7. Minus this way, giving me 2x, minus the 7 that way, 14. X ends up equaling 7. We want to find the measure of angle ABC. We want this angle here. Well, what we can do is we can plug the 7 back into here. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 40. Because we have 42 minus 2, so that's 40. The measure of angle 2 is equal to 28 plus 7. So that's 35. So this angle here, angle A, is 75. We want B, and that's its supplement, so a minus 75 from there. And we get the answer, like it says in the answer column, of 105. 24, find the perimeter and area of this parallelogram. Well, the side is 12 because opposite sides are congruent. This is the base to this side of 12. So the area is going to equal 12 times 6, giving you an answer of 72. You know that the area is 72 and the height this way is 8, so we need to find the base. So 72 is equal to the base, which is x, times the height, which is 8, divided by 8. So x equals 9. This side is x. And then the perimeter is 12 times 2 plus 9 times 2, giving you the answer of 72. Or 42, sorry, for the perimeter. 25. AQ is 3x plus 4y. QB is 2x plus 2y. DQ, x plus 4y. And QC, 7x minus 4. Find x, y, and the length of the longest diagonal. Well, you know that diagonals bisect each other, so we can set 3x plus 4y equal to 7x minus 4 for one equation, and we can set x plus 4y equal to 2x plus 2y. Minus the 7x this way, we'll get negative 7x plus, negative 4x plus 4y equaling negative 4. And this one, when we minus them over, we'll get negative x plus 2y equaling 0. So the two equations are here, like it says. Let's get rid of, let's say, the y's. So we'll multiply by negative 2. So the top one stays. Bottom comes 2x minus 4y, still 0. These cancel, these cancel out. The x's become negative 2x equaling negative 4. Divide, so x equals 2. Y, we can say right here, negative 2 plus 2y is equal to 0. Add 2 over, 2y is equal to 2, so y equals 1. There's those two things. Find the length of the longest diagonal. Well, you'd have to plug it back in, and you will notice, just like the answer column said, you get 20 for the diagonal right there. '26, last but not least, you have QR, which is y squared minus 2y minus 2. And you have Rn, which is 5y minus 12. Okay, let's start there. You know it's a rhombus, so all sides are congruent. So we get y squared minus 2y minus 2 equal to 5y minus 12. Minus the 5y over, so we're getting y squared minus 7y plus 10 equaling 0. Factor leading coefficient of 1. We get negative 5 and negative 2, so the answers are 5 and 2. Check to see if they both work, and they do. So x is both 5 and 2. When you actually plug in 2 here, you get 10 minus 12, so this is negative 2, so negative 2 doesn't work. So 5 is the only value that works. If you want the perimeter is, each side is 13. So you can do perimeter is equal to 13 times 4, giving you an answer of 52 for the perimeter. And you want to know, find the measure of angle QRN. QRN. Well, you know that this angle goes here. All right. And you know it goes here. So measure of angle 2 doesn't do you any good. You do the 16 times 5. Oh, we need the x, really, to get this angle. We don't need the y. So you know that these two angles, this is a 90 degree. So you know that these two actually right here add to equal 90 because this is a triangle right here. And you know it's perpendicular on the inside. So we got 16 and 6. We add it together to get yourself an answer of 22x. Plus 2 equals to 90, so 22x is equal to 88. So x ends up equaling 4. You need two number ones, so 16 times 4 minus 3. This is 61, so this is 61, giving you 122. Getting there, we're about halfway done. 27. AE is x squared. BE is x plus 3. DE is 2x plus 1. And EC is 7x minus 2. It's a perpendicular bisector, so these two sides are bisecting. So x plus 3 is equal to 2x plus 1 minus the x over this way, minus the 1 this way. So x ends up equaling 2. I want you to find the area of this. The area formula for a kite is diagonal 1 times diagonal 2 over 2. So we plug it back into each piece. 2 squared here is 4. This is 7. This is 5. And this is 12. So if we add them up, these two added together end up being one diagonal is equal to 12. The other diagonal is equal to 16. Multiply 12 and 16 divided by 2. Answer is 80 for the area. In a trapezoid, angles that are next to each other are supplementary. So we know that 5x here minus 120 is equal to 180. So 5x is equal to 300. X ends up equaling 60. They ask you to find the area of the trapezoid. The side's 12. BE is the height. So that's 60 minus 54. So that's 6. And DC, it is 60 minus that. So this whole bottom is 20. We do find the area. So it's 1/2. 12 plus 20 times the height of 6, giving you an area of 96. 29. It's a square, so each side is congruent. Each angle is 90 degrees. AC is square root of 72. Find the area and perimeter of the triangle. We know each side is x and x. So we can figure out that this diagonal is 72. We want each side over here. There's multiple ways of doing this question, depends on the knowledge that you know. The best way I know how to do this is the Pythagorean theorem. So we would have x squared plus x squared would equal the square root of 72 squared. So we get 2x squared is equal to square root of 72 squared, which is just 72. Divide by 2. X squared is 36. Square root that. X is 6. So this side is 6, 6, 6, and 6. Perimeter ends up equaling 24. Area equals 6 times 6, which is equal to 36. Center of the circle is D. We know that BD is perpendicular to AC, so there's a right angle here. You know that these are parallel and these are parallel. So right here, you know that this is ends up being a square. Diameter is 15, so that means the radius is 15. D to C is a radius for 15, which means F to E also has a radius of 15. And you're done because you know that the diagonals in a rectangle or square are congruent. For 31, you can list them. These were in the notes of 5.6, or you can look in the answer column. You should have these memorized. You will have a multiple choice question talking about these reasons. 32, NEXT is a kite. Give the 3 possible values for the perimeter. You don't know which sides are congruent to each other, so you have to guess. You have to make a figurization to figure out that maybe these two are the two that are congruent, or let me change colors here. Maybe it's these two that are congruent. We don't know. We'll have to figure that out. So one way we can say, hey, y squared is equal to 5y plus 6 and factor y squared minus 5y minus 6 equaling 0. So this way, so we have x and x. We can get, what is it, negative 3 and negative 2. So this answer is 3. This answer is 2. Or over here, we can get y squared is equal to 2y plus 3. So y squared minus 2y minus 3. And we get y and y. And that gives us two numbers that multiply here are negative 3 and positive 1. So these answers are 3 and negative 1. We have 4 answers, but 2 of them are the same. So all 3 of these answers work. Give the 3 possible values for the perimeter. Well, you have to think about it. When these two were congruent, this would be 9, 9. Over here, it'd be 21 and 21. So with 3, the perimeter is 60. With negative 1, so that's 1 and 1. And this becomes 1 and 1. So with negative 1, the perimeter is 4. And when there's 2, we get 2 goes in here. I apologize. When we look back over here, in this part here, these are not the right values that we needed. So we could go back and we can say that multiplied here. So this was supposed to be negative 6 and positive 1. So the answers are -1 and 6. So -1 we already used, so +6 is the other one we need. When you get that, this is 36, which makes this 36. And then you get the 2 times the 6 is 12. This side is 15 and 15. So 2 36s, 2 15s. You're left with the answer of 102. For the always, sometimes, never, if the diagonals of a quadrilateral are congruent, quadrilateral is isosceles trapezoid sometimes, because it could also be a rectangle or a square. If the diagonals of a quadrilateral divide each angle into two 45 angles, the quadrilateral is a square. That is an always, because that means the diagonals end up being bisected, and 45 and 45 are each one of them, and that only happens in the square. If a parallelogram is equilateral, it is equiangular. That is sometimes, because you know that that only happens in the rectangle or the square. And if two of the angles of a trapezoid are congruent, the trapezoid is isosceles. Once again, that's sometimes, because maybe you had the trapezoid that looked like this. This angle's 90, 90. It's still a trapezoid, but it's not isosceles. I allowed you to skip numbers 37 through 44 and 45 and 46. 47 we're looking at. We're going to find x, y, and z. This line is parallel to this line. 88 is in this corner here. We know that we can figure out angle B, because we could do 88 plus 36, giving me 124. Take 180, subtract 124 from it, giving me 56 for my answer. So this answer is 56. We can divide by 2. This angle is 28 and 28. So if this is the transversal from the parallel lines, the measure of angle Y is 28, because it's alternating interior to the 28 up here. We know that Z now, because 88 plus 28 is 116. Subtract that from 180, giving you Z is equal to 64. And you want X. X is out over here. X is equal to Y and Z together. So X equals 64 and 28, which means that it, oh, sorry, is um, completes the triangle over here. So X ends up equaling what's left over for that, and you end up with the 56 that you want. Here, these are all congruent. If this is 72, this is isosceles, right? Because these two sides are congruent. So this is 72. You got 180 minus 72 times 2. 144. 180 minus the 144. 36 goes here. You can figure out this angle over here. This angle over here is 144. These two angles are congruent. So you can do 180 minus 144, giving you an answer of 36. And you could divide it by 2, so the measure of angle A is 18. All right, looking at this one, I want the measure of angle B over here. This is isosceles, so this is 25, which means that's 50. So 180 minus 50 gives you the answer of 130. So this angle is 130, which means this is 50. Looking at this one, this is isosceles now, so 50 is here, 50 is also here. That's 100, so this is 80, which means this is 100 here. So this means this is 40 here and 40 here. So the measure of angle B is equal to 40. Number 50, I told you could skip because we didn't get to that part. We are almost finished. Yay! This angle, this is supposed to be this angle right here. This is the exterior angle theorem. I know this question's on the test. We know that 6x plus 4x plus 46 is equal to 20x minus 14. So 10x plus 46 is equal to 20x minus 14 minus 10 this way, giving me 10x. Add 14 this way, giving me 60. So x ends up equaling 6. Exterior angle theorem, the two remote interior equals the exterior. Have to know it. Over here we have a triangle. The triangle has to add to equal 180. This you have to FOIL, F-O-I-L. So we're going to get x plus 2 and x plus 2, giving you x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. So that's x squared plus 4x plus 4. We're going to add another x squared to that, and then we're going to add x squared minus 6 and set it equal to 180. So we're looking at 2x squared. We notice that we got plus 12x, and we're going to do minus 2 equaling to 180. So 2x squared plus 12x minus 178 equals 0. We have 2 in common, so we pull out 2, leaving me with x squared minus 6x minus whatever half of 178 is, giving you 89. So moving too quickly, we minus that over, so that was supposed to be, I apologize, negative 182, which means this is negative 91. So then we need two numbers that multiply negative 91 but add to 6. X is, the numbers are a negative 13 and a positive 7 here. And we need a positive 6x. Shoot. So scratch that again. It should be reverse that. We're looking at a negative or positive 13 and a negative 7. Which means this is 7 and this is negative 13. Negative 13 doesn't work in here. So 7 is the one that works. So I'll plug it here. This is 49, which makes this 49, which then makes this 131. And then this is a triangle. So 180 minus 131 minus a 35. I'm left with 14 for the measure of angle A, and I'm done. 53, I said to skip because you didn't need to know how to really do that. What do you notice? 30's down here in this corner, 40's up here. You know these are parallel. So 40's here, 40 is also down here, which means this is 70, which means that this angle right here is 110, which means this angle 70 right here. We need to find the measure of angle 1 and angle 2. 1's there, 2 is there. These lines are parallel here. This line could be the transversal to them. You know that this is 110, and that's 150. So then this angle right here is 30. So it corresponds, or it's you can figure it out. Or I prefer that this triangle right here, if I redraw it, here's 1, here's 2, and then this angle over here is 110. This is the remote interior angle. So these two added together are the two remote to add equal that. So 1 and 2, that's a plus sign, equals 110 because we know they are. Next one, we see BH and HD and then EH and EC. So this 55 right here is if the two sets are bisecting each other, then you have a parallelogram. If you go from a parallelogram, you know that opposite sides end up being parallel. This one is also parallel. If these are parallel, so we got if two lines are parallel to the same line, then all of them are parallel. Right here, angles 1 and 2 are alternating interior, and if they're alternating interior angles are congruent, you have parallel lines. And if AC is parallel to GF and AG is parallel to CF, you know that you have a parallelogram, because if both pairs of opposite sides are parallel, you have a parallelogram. 60, you have a parallelogram, you're giving 5 and 6, so this is if parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. 61 is if a parallelogram, then angle 2 and 3 are congruent, so the parallelogram, 2 and 3 are corresponding angles are congruent. 63, this would be the transitive property instead of substitution, apologize, transitive. 64, we got angle, side, angle, giving you 64 here. That means this has to be CPCTC. Angles 1 and 2 are alternating interior, so that means the lines are parallel. And if the same set is parallel and congruent, you know you have a parallelogram. I asked you to do questions 68 and 69 for the proofs. So let's start there. This is what you can assume. This is what we need to prove, the opposite of it. So we can assume that these two lines are parallel. Oh, sorry, BG. Which means that, and we know angle 1 and 2 are congruent. So these are alternating interior, which means that this line is parallel to this line, but it was also parallel to here. So then we have it. So I would start out with angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, which reason 1 gives me BG is parallel to DE. We assume AF is parallel to BG, which then, if those are both parallel, we know AF would be parallel to DE. Our two reasons, first one was if alt interior angles congruent, we got parallel lines. Two is if two lines are parallel to a third line, all lines are parallel. And you have to make the contradiction statement say the proof contradicts that AF is not parallel to DE, therefore AF cannot be parallel to BG, and you're done. And last but not least, 69, if this is a kite, you know these are congruent, you know that there's a perpendicular bisector inside, you know that these sides are congruent here. Your goal is to get angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Well, if this is a kite, right, we know that Q we know that QT is congruent to NT, and we already knew that QY was congruent to YN because given. This means that QN, or my mistake, that not QN, that YT is the perpendicular bisector to QN, because QN are the two stationary points. And if these two are perpendicular bisector, that means QV is congruent to VN. And also, same reason, you could say QP is congruent to PN. And then we know from the diagram, reason 4, VP is congruent to VP, which proves triangles QVP congruent to triangle NVP VP. Oh, ran out of room. Put up the wall. Go down here. Reason 6 by CPCTC. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Reason 1 would be definition of a kite. Reason 2 is if 2 points equal distant, perpendicular bisector. 3, if perpendicular bisector, 2 points equal distant. 4 is reflexive. Reason 5, side, side, side. 6, CPCTC. Good luck to you. The other 2 proofs you don't have to do. Good luck to you. So you know these 2 types of proofs are going to be on the test. Make sure that you know your reasons. You're going to have to give me supply reasonings for this. Other ones that you need to know: exterior angle theorem. Triangles add to equal 180. Maybe not as tough though, but they add to 180. You have to see the isosceles triangle and match up the angles using the 180. We skipped all of those. You have to know how to do always, sometimes, never. You have to know how to do the kite, which ones are congruent. If it doesn't work, you retry, retry, and retry. You have to be able to interpret a kite. You have to be able to find a rhombus. You have to be able to know that the diagonals bisect each other to make them congruent, using a system also. You already know 21 and 22 are on there. You have to be able to do a crook problem with x's, the crook problem by itself, know the angle pair measures, know your parallel line rules, and that is your exam. It'll be out of 90 points, so good luck to you studying, and come prepared and with your best effort on Thursday morning. Good luck to you once again, and good night.